Sir, very low level of coding we did it for business analytics, so not very advanced stage.
Hmm.
We had one class last semester, so it was very basic, rudimentary Python coding, not very high level.
Okay. So I'm going to show you. By the way, I mean, I distributed the results of the exercise. I wanted to know, was it an open book test? When I gave that test, I mean, I hope the questions were simple, but was it an open book test? Like you're
No, sir.
supposed to, it was
No, sir.
not. So then it's unfortunate because I saw many of you uh, actually copied straight away from a book or from a website. So that's very sad actually. The only thing I can give to you is that those of you who have copied from a textbook or from a website, I think the best you can get is actually a revision of even the writing stuff, right? That will actually give you some revision of what you're doing. But we've done what, three classes, and in the three classes, my effort has been, or my motivation to teach you has been, is to go and interact with markets and learn some principles. We My motivation has not been to make you a bookworm and just pass the exam and get out. There's very handful of you, I think the numbers in the class. So very sad to know that and I could see people have copied from each other also. So because there are the same mistakes in some of the papers. I do not want to take it up with your management or with other profs, but just to share, you are going to be masters in computational finance. Now I've spent about 25 years now, out of which good 20 years have been in the markets. The one thing, the one thing that nobody will ever pardon you in financial markets is ethics. CFA Institute stands for ethics, and if you go to markets, you will find it easy to be unethical in the beginning. But that road goes nowhere. It's guaranteed for failure, and not only in your professional lives, in your personal lives also. I'm really upset that the and I've got those papers now with me, right? They're all soft copies. There's enough proof, and amongst yourself who's done it. So and I'm not going to I'm not going to share this with anybody. I'm not going to escalate it, because the best teacher and the best judge of what you want to do in your careers is yourself. No punishment, no reward is going to change or influence you, because you're already like 22, 23, 24 years of age. But not being non-ethical is a slippery slope. You may think that I want to get marks, and let me copy here, let me copy there. That doesn't work, friends. Try to study hard, and try to be truthful, especially in finance and many other things, right? But in finance, you know your future, people are going to put their future in your hands, because you are going to be intermediaries, and you may get the wrong end of the stick, because our parents, our sisters, our mothers, our better halves, they are all, their money is going to be managed by somebody else, and it's going to be somebody from you. So the two professions that really matter is the medical profession and the financial profession, because it's directly impacting lives. Every profession matters. Every profession you have to be truthful. Learn to be truthful. It's hard. You'll feel initially it's hard, but please learn to be truthful. Sorry for my sermon, but I thought initially that it was an open book test, in which case it's fine. If it's an open book test and you're copying from something, even the writing part, right, you're writing from somewhere, so even that writing part is going to actually tell your mind what you're doing. What is the question being asked, and what am I replying to that question, what is my response. So I hope that much is something that you've absorbed in the last classes through the examination that we sat through. But what was saddening to for me to know is that it was not open book test. It was supposed to be uh, a closed door test. So enough of that. I wish you all the very best. That don't do it ever again. Try to be as ethical as possible. You should read Rabindranath Tagore's poem, you know, uh, a mind without fear. Do read it, because it'll give you a lot of inspiration. It'll give you the world is not very uh, you know it's not very easy. It's very competitive world. You want to get ahead of each other, but it doesn't matter that you have to come first or second or third, or if you fail, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're trying, and try hard, try very hard, and be sincere and honest, because that is the golden path, and that will actually lead you to really good success. So let's begin, folks, with please, for those who have not joined this class today, please pass on the message. Please try to be ethical. Don't copy ever. Don't plagiarize ever. So today's I was asking people before others joined, how many of you have technology background? It seems that, probably nobody has got a technology background. Very few people have got a technology background. So this class is on visualization, right? And visualization using Python. So Python has got like huge amount of features, like it is so easy to to plot a graph or plot things in Python, that you will stop probably using Excel. Now we've got 1.5 hours, and I'm aware that we've lost 10-15 minutes, so we'll try to make it up, if people are ready to to be in the class. So first of all, what I'm going to do is, can you open your Anaconda? All of you have Anaconda, or how are you using your Python?
Yes, so we use it via Jupyter Notebook Anaconda setup.
Okay, so can you all open up your Anaconda notebooks? I'll share my screen also. I'm trying to see which one is the most simple thing for me to demonstrate, because I don't want to scare you by. Just give me a minute. Just open your Anaconda first, please. Okay, so so let me share my screen. Where is the screen sharing? Turn off, turn on captions, raise hand, present now,
So the one with the arrow.
one with the arrow, right? Oh yes. So in present now, your entire screen. Okay. Uh, entire screen. You're able to see my screen? You can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So lots of things open in my screen. Uh, so so let me show you some very simple things to do. One second. Should I show? Okay, so I'm going to first of all give you something very very simple. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here, if you see, the very first thing in a Python program is that so Outlast. So this is a sample program. Okay, I wrote this sample. I'll send this to you. This is a sample program. I wrote this for many analysts in research. Right, they have got this problem in Excel. Also, when you actually use Excel, what happens is that how do you draw a graph in Excel? Right, you let me open Excel and I'll show you how you draw your graph in Excel, and we can compare what really happens when you actually. One second. It can be a tedious process, is what I'm trying to demonstrate to you. Okay. So samples. Come on. I think that is very slow. Ticketing programs. Very slow. Charts, sample input. Okay, so this is my file. Okay, this is just a sample file, and what you do is that in the file I've got this three. All of you can see this, right? All of you can see my file. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this is just a simple table, right? It's just a return on equity and price to earnings, and I've just given, you know, 10 stocks over here, and for those 10 stocks, I've given like some arbitrary values. Okay, so now if you realize this is not a straightforward table. Okay, and actually I've generated random. This is a random function, and I've generated this randomly. Many times what happens in as an analyst, right, you've got huge, a very very big spreadsheet, like it has got like 10-15 different worksheets within a single Excel. Has anybody actually analyzed the stock from amongst you? Anyone has tried to really analyze a stock, a company?
So we have a batchmate who does it often.
Okay, is that batchmate here today?
No, I don't think so, sir.
Okay, so my congratulations to your batchmate who's actually trying to analyze a stock. But and if you can, you should request is to get his file to check how he has done things. But most likely, your batchmate is going to have a big Excel sheet, and in which there's going to be lots of worksheets. So, for example, if you were to analyze a company like simpler company, far simpler company like let's say SH Kelkar. Anybody knows what is SH Kelkar doing, in what business this
So
company
AC
is in?
shelter perfumes.
Correct, that's right. So it's a relatively simpler business, right, compared to let's say Reliance, even compared to something like TCS. Why? Because Reliance is now a conglomerate. It has got like lots of different businesses, and for you to analyze Reliance, what you'll have to do is analyze each business and do a sum of parts. You've learned DCF, right? All of you. Have you learned DCF?
Yes, sir. Discounted cash flow, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We have run.
So that's just one type of valuation. What I'm saying is that when you want to analyze companies, you'll have a balance sheet forecast, you'll have an income statement forecast, you have a cash flow forecast, and within each you'll have a capex forecast. So that's just for one business, and so you've got like 4 sheets right there, right? And then you'll have a geographical forecast. So, for example, if a company like TCS is exporting all over the world, what is the American sales, what is the European sales, and within that, there could be another cut where what is TCS exporting to whether it's banking and financial services, whether it's steel, iron and steel, and so on. So my point is that imagine your Excel sheet having lots and lots and lots of data, and you've got a value and a range of values where you say this is the forecast price from TCS. Now the problem is that when you actually want to draw graphs, your graphs are all over the place. As an analyst, you don't know where it is, right? So as I was talking with somebody in the industry, like they said, can you give me a simple tool in Python, where I don't know where my table is. So I said okay, but the person said that they would still want to do the graph. So now what I've done here is this table can be in any arbitrary place. You can see that it's in the middle of nowhere in the Excel sheet. You can see this, right? But still you want to do a graph with that. How do you do that graph? So that is why I've created this sheet called sample sheet. It can be anything. Now let's see how this program is handling this thing. So if you go here, so the first thing that you do, all of you are familiar with libraries. I mean, these are the standard libraries in Python. Okay, so the first library is Open PyExcel. Okay, which is loading the Excel. I can deal with Excel by loading this library. So I'm saying from Open PyExcel, import the load workbook, and then the pandas library and the numpy library, string library, random library, matplotlib, pyplot, and so on. For those who don't know,
So what does string do?
sorry.
Does it convert? What does string do? Does it convert things to string?
Yes. So each of these libraries have got a significance. Okay. Now this is a straightforward thing, which is an Excel library, right? The Excel library is just a very straightforward, like it will allow you Excel function. So in fact, with Python, what Python allows you to do is it gobbles up entire files. So imagine you are working with your Excel, but you can do all you did with your hand on an Excel sheet, but through Python. That's what it is. Now, for doing that, suppose you wanted to handle strings. So how will you replace a string? How will you concatenate a string? So I'm using this string class, a string library, to get all the functions that are there in the string library to play around with things. Now, the pandas library is the most important one. Actually, the most important, all libraries are very, very important. But what happens is that Python started with NumPy. NumPy is just the very basic of Python, basics of Python, where you've got it has got array handling, very fast array handling. All of you are familiar with arrays?
So just the basics.
Just the basics, right? So basics is what you need. You don't have to, we are not programmers here, right? Like last time also I discussed, you are going to be, your specialty is going to be, I don't know what you're going to choose as your specialty. Should look at CFA Institute career webinars. Just Google for CFA Institute careers. When is your placement going to happen?
So it's ongoing, but for our class we are 90% placed. So
Oh, you're 90% placed. Okay, where are you placed? Sorry, where are you placed? Who's this? Sorry.
So this is Neil, sir.
Yeah, Neil, where are you placed?
So it's a company called Gartner in Gurgaon, sir.
Okay, so you're going to go to a research house and you're going
Yes,
to be
sir.
based in Gurgaon. What about others? Like, I just wanted to get a flavor of other people who are placed.
Sir, Mihir here, Infosys Financial Consulting.
Very good. Ali? Muskan?
Sir, Think Analytics, Associate Data Analyst.
Okay, and Ali?
Sir, I'm placed at City, again analytics only.
City?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So, I've been working with City. So good. Congratulations to all of you. And, I have not asked others, but it's, it's exciting to think of life as, I'm starting as a youngster. So what is really going to set you apart is actually your one of the things that is really going to set you apart is your Python skills. Now, apart from what Neil mentioned, right, most of you have already got a kind of a techie job really. And I know City, I don't know whether you are going to which team you are going to be placed, Ali, but if you are going to placed in the knowledge process outsourcing team, which is the global centers of excellence, uh, you will be doing a lot of stuff with programming. Now it doesn't matter whether you are going to do stuff with programming or not. If you are going to do stuff with programming, I think you will be forced to learn. What is really going to differentiate you uh, is if you can learn stuff and you can demonstrate that for yourself. Forget about others, forget about your employer, forget about about your class or your grades. Now anyway, those class and grades really don't matter. uh, what is really going to happen is that as you embrace Python, it is going to give you a huge advantage over others. And I'll tell you, like, I've seen literally hundreds of people in the CFA membership. Those who know Python is a very small minority, very small minority. And those who know it, I think they are heads and shoulders above others, because they make money. Okay, that's the secret. uh, so uh, uh, we don't want to you don't want to be an expert in what is a string class, what is the syntax. You're never ever going to do that. For example, Neil in Gartner, he's going to do research, but Neil will make himself felt when he shows that, oh, I can do a very sophisticated machine learning based Google search. Muskan is in the data think analytics team. Now I don't know what kind of analytics they are going to use, but if you are going to use derivatives, then you can probably show how to scrape things from the web, and then use that in creating derivatives pricing models. Ali, I don't know about you. So on and so forth. So what I'm saying is that try to look at Python as a tool where you can demonstrate first to yourself that I can actually use and solve my own problem, and then that will automatically flow that you can demonstrate it to your employer. So it doesn't matter really what is the exact syntax. Just make your programs work. That is what I would suggest to you. And all my programs, and I was telling somebody, my boss actually yesterday or day before yesterday, I have written more than maybe 30,000 lines of code. The first few thousand lines of code, I had to really sweat it out. Although I'm a computer engineer, Python was a little bit new to me when I was doing my PhD, and I'm still doing my PhD, but I'm in my final lab. So Python was a little bit new to me. I'd done C, I'd done C++, I'd done C Sharp, Fortran, Pascal, God knows what. So, but after the first few thousand lines of code, I started reusing my own code. This is what you'll find. So don't worry about syntax. Don't worry about if your first programs don't work. Your curve will be something like this. Let me draw learning curve in Python, because it's important to show what the learning curve is. Right, so let me draw axis here. So this is the y-axis, and this is the x-axis. Okay, and this is, suppose the y-axis demonstrate your success in Python and how you are feeling, right? So this is how you are actually going to. Your journey is going to be this way. Initially, you will be very excited, very excited, very excited, and then you'll start to feel the pain. It will be so painful. Oh my God, nothing is working. Oh my God, and you leave it. And those who will still sustain, they'll then come up very slowly, and then they will go this way and high. Okay, so that is going to be your Python journey. Just as if you are not writing, you should write. The writing journey also, and publish on LinkedIn and so on and so forth. The Python journey is going to be similar. So with that, without further ado, now let me go back to the basics. Think about it as a 30,000 feet level. Somebody asked me a question, what is string? Right now, just take it I will tell you the most important parts from a 30,000 feet level. From a 30,000 feet level, what did I tell you? I told you that many of you will end up having lots and lots of spreadsheets, and your graph will be here. So suppose I wanted to draw a graph. What do I have to do? Count the time, right? I started at 10:48. If I wanted to do a simple graph, I have to go here, say insert, then I say graphs, then I say this, and then it gives me something. Then I say, oh, this is not correct. I delete this. I go and check this, and I find out whether this is the right graph or not. I do a right click, and finally I get a graph. So probably it is going to take 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes. It's still not there, right? Maybe it is going to take at least 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes if I'm present it to my boss or to your client, because you want to beautify it. You want to really have a y-axis, x-axis here, a title, and then finally have a presentable shape and form. So if it is going to take 15 to 30 minutes actually to make this simple graph, can do, because this simple graph, remember, that you do from a spreadsheet is just one time. Whenever your numbers change here, you go and again do the same thing. It's like almost foolish, right? You're going to do the same thing again and again, again and again. Instead of that, if you do things programmatically, this is how it's going to happen. So that we do in Python is to import the libraries. NumPy is one of the the earliest libraries. Somebody asked me why, because it has got arrays and it has got sophistication, where in arrays also, in an array structure also, you can imagine an array. What does the array look like? It is just an array of numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say you got all these 10 rows in the array, and now suddenly in your array you also have. Can you see me? My actions, or
Yes,
because I'm
sir.
showing. Yeah. So you got all these rows in the array, 10 rows in the array, and suppose now you start to add columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now this array has suddenly started to look like an Excel sheet. You're with me, right? You're with me. Are you with me?
Yes,
So
sir.
10 rows, 10 columns. Now imagine that instead of 10 rows, you've got 1 million rows. In fact, there's an Excel limit. It will not allow you. There's a limit on which how many rows you can have. So you've got 1 million rows this way and 1 million rows comes this way, right? Now, if you wanted to search and replace, let's say simple string in Excel, your Excel is going to hang, right? For 1 million rows and 1 million columns, I don't know what's the latest limit in Excel. I think I was told the latest Excel has got a higher limit, but your Excel is definitely going to hang or freeze. But things can be very, very simple and very, very fast in Python, because what you'll do in Python is you'll import this Excel sheet, and it will then start to work you can work it as an array, and arrays are like, it goes right in the internals of the machine, and arrays become really fast. So that's why NumPy is about. That's what NumPy is about. And Pandas is a person called Mac Vasile. I don't have I think I showed the book last time. I did not show it to you, but I'll show it to you. Buy that book. All his books are, by the way, free. This guy, used to work for AQR. How many of you know what AQR is? Hello? Anybody
No,
who
sir,
knows?
we don't know.
No, don't know.
Okay. Do you know who's Cliff Asness? You don't know, obviously, right? No answer. So I think, if I were you, and if I were as young as you, which I am not right now, I would actually take a picture of Cliff Asness, put it on because most of you, I talked with you, it's going to be an analytics job anyway. So this guy, Cliff Asness, he was young as you are right now, and you should have his picture in your house, pray him every day, and go to your job. I'll tell you why. So Cliff Asness is the master of quantitative finance. Okay, his fund AQR is a celebrity fund, right? I mean, Cliff Asness is a celebrity. He's not doing well right now, but he's a quants guru. You should go and look at his blogs. You should go and look at what he's doing and so on. So McVisley was a young guy, and in 2006 or 7, he started working, fresh out of college, started working for Cliff Asness and AQR. they tried to start, they were using Python. Before that, Python did not, as you know, Python is an open source thing, it's free, right? So McWisley, he said that, what do you do in finance? In finance, you always have, you're looking at basically stocks, right? And you're looking at time series, right? Going forward, going backward, doing returns, doing cumulative returns and whatnot, right? Mean returns. So you're going forward, going backward, going up, going down. So in Excel, it is really a botheration. Try doing your graph in Excel, a price chart in Excel. It's stupid. Not only not only is it tedious. If you wanted to do price charts for thousands of stocks, it's going to be impossible. So what is McWisley did is that he invented this library pandas, and he offered AQR offered this for free for everyone. So pandas has got like thousands of functions which are just sophistications for how do you use time series, how do you use regressions, all of that is, it's a power packed Swiss knife, almost a nuclear weapon, so as to speak, for for doing stuff in Python. So NumPy, it started with NumPy, then you got Panda, that somebody asked me, like string is just a library. Random is for random numbers, for generating random numbers. And this is, our class is not, I'm not going to teach you Python, but in this class we are going to teach about visualization. So this is the most simple and easy to use library called PyPlot. Matplotlib, PyPlot, and I'm just calling it as PLT. PLT is just a synonym. So high level thing, 30,000 feet, I've imported these 3 and 3 6 things. Okay. Out of this, maybe this is not required. And what I did was, I was wanting to get my program get my file in the right shape. Right? This is my file. It is in the wrong shape right now. I don't know. Are you with me what I'm trying to do over here? This table is somewhere in the sheet, but my Python program doesn't know where it is. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Now look at the magic that this will do. The first thing I do in this program is, I give it a path. And the path is, you can notice that there's a double slash, right? The double slash is because slash is a special character in Python. And, I have to tell Python that, to avoid this special character, have a double slash. Then I give the file name, which is this file name, right? Simple sample underscore input.xlsx. I give this, and then I give the sheet name, which is sample. And I say, if it is blank, then I say sheet parameter is equal to 0. Otherwise, this. It's just a variable, right? Just a variable. Okay. So I do this. Simple thing. When it is executing, this becomes black. Okay. It is executed this. Now this entire clean.df function, don't worry about this. I'm going to give you the code, but don't worry about this clean.df function. It just cleans up things. It can be fairly complicated and overwhelming for you, but those who want to try what happens, do try what happens. It is well commented. You can see what happens. What I'm doing is I'm calling this function, and it is scraping that table. It is finding out automatically where this table is, and it is reading that table from the Excel sheet. So this is what I'm doing. Okay. Now it has read the thing, and you can see that. You can see here, it is giving this clean.df is passing on 2 parameters, done scraping and out df. Done scraping is true when I don't have a problem. It becomes false when I have a problem, and out df is actually the variable. So see this variable. What does it have? See, I got this table, right? You want to try it again? I place this table instead of here. I place it here. I save it. It will still work fine, right? You will almost not know the difference. Okay, so it is doing this automatically. Now, my thing is not to to show you what where things are and what I'm doing. Now, this is where I'm doing the debug. If I were to read normally, how it will look. Are you guys with me? This is how it will look, because my
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is how it will look. I'm not going to execute the code now. This is how it will look, and this is how it will give the columns. But anyway, fortunately, we have got scraper program. Now look at the power of Python. In Python, I am saying, you know what outdf is, right? What outdf is. So this is outdf. Outdf is just a mini Excel sheet, right? But it's now clean. You don't have any, this junk, right? Nan, unnamed, nothing of that sort. You got very clean three column headers, code, ROE, and PE, and 10 rows. Okay. Now the scatter plot is the simplest thing you can do in Python. All I have to say is outdf.plot. Right. Now this McWisley guy, this is what he invented. OutDF is a data frame. You see the type of OutDF, you can check what is the variable type. See what it is showing? It's showing it's a data frame. And where is this data frame belonging to? At what library does it belong to? It is belonging to the pandas class. And who invented pandas? The AQR guy. And no surprise, he's put in so much functionality. It's power packed. I just say to outdf, I call a function. There's an inbuilt functionality called plot. I say plot, and what kind of plot do I want? I want a scatter plot. Now in the scatter plot, what are the things that you need in a scatter plot? Without looking at this, can somebody tell me what do you need in a scatter plot? Forget about
So what are
programming.
the X and Y variables?
Exactly, right? So I gave here what is X, and how did I give what is X? I said outdf.columns2. One thing you have to remember, in Python, everything starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2. So I'm saying my X value is 0, 1, 2. Columns 2 is this PE column. Okay. And column 1 is this ROE column, right? And then I said, I want the size of my dots as 100. And I want the color as dark blue. And I want to give a title, scatter plot, right? And then I say, I want to save this file. And I've just saved this file as PNG. You can even store it as PDF. You can store anything. And, you don't even have to, worry about how that storing is done. In Excel, you'll have to print it and so on and so forth. And then I just have to call plt.savefig, and then it says I'm done. Now, if you don't want to do it, in one line of code, literally, you have done a scatter plot. Okay. In one line of code, I have literally done a scatter plot. See? But if I want to save it, I can save it using this. All of you clear with me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and suppose now you wanted to, graduate and, not just do a plot, but scatter plot. What do you normally do in Excel? How do you know so what am I doing here? Because you are going to be, you are masters in computational finance, right? You are not a technical person. So try to, my advice and suggestion to you is, wherever you join, Citi, Gartner, try to make sure that the employer doesn't make you, menial. They're market experts. Now, there's a huge danger. It's a reality, right? The reality is that, people do lots of grunt work in India. And what do I mean by grunt work? So I was a quants person in Citi in Tokyo, right? Ali, it's for you. And, we had a team of people in Seeds, Mumbai, where, they would, where are you placed, Hari? Which location are you in?
So we're still not sure about the locations. It's either Pune, Chennai, or Bangalore.
Okay. So you are going to be in the knowledge, this is going to be the knowledge outsourcing group. Now, depending on the group that you are in, people, you may get a high-end job, you may get a low-end job, right? So try to be at the high end. And what is the high end here? Can somebody tell me what is how do you define a high end job? Doesn't matter which employer you're with. It could be even Goldman.
Sir, customer facing.
No, it's the market facing.
But in terms of value addition,
Yeah, so
depends
it's
what value is
always,
it.
yeah. So depending on, of course, depending on what you want to do. In financial services, the biggest value is the markets. Okay, so you're understanding everything, anything and anything do in your jobs. The farther you are away from financial markets, the farther you are away from, your the knowledge that you've learned in your master's course. No job is bad, okay? No job is bad. All I'm saying is some of you very well may be interested in this, and you could be the Mac Wesley guy. What he did was, after leaving AQR, he dedicated his life. Go and look at his videos. He's dedicated his life to technology and improving technology. Everything he does is for free. So that's why I said, in fact, you can buy the book for free. I mean, you don't have to buy the book, but that book is for free. It's on pandas, entire book, and how do you do data analysis. And that book is for free, but just as a mark of respect, in today's world, like 300, 400 rupees, on Amazon is not a big deal, I would suppose, for you. So he dedicated his life to technology. That's fine. He's away from markets. AQR made lots of money, although they have a bad year last year. But he said that I want to go in technology. So some of you may want to go in technology. But as a financial markets person, I would think that, for me, markets is a place where you've got the highest value add. Other things are, lesser and lesser as you go away from markets. That's the only point I wanted to make. So the thing about, coming back to our visualization thing, you can prove to yourself that it's going to be very easy. Now if somebody is going to tell you that, do hundreds of things and draw these sheets in Excel, and we would ask our people in city India to get these things done for us, and give this, ultimately this goes as a report, some compendium somewhere, an appendix somewhere. You will then become a small cog in the wheel if you don't understand what it is for. So you would say that, instead of Excel, I'll do this very nice thing. I'll do this repeatedly for, hundreds and thousands of stocks, and I'll get done with my job. Because you can call this in a loop, right? You can call this in a loop and do it hundreds of thousands of times to do the same scatter plot again and again and again. You're with me? You can change the color, you can do very, very fancy things. So on and so forth. Okay. Now let's go to the regression part of this. So what you do in Excel is that, if you want to do a regression for a scatter plot, how do you do a regression, and why are we doing this? Sorry, the point that I was trying to tell you, why are we doing this? So somebody asks you in your job, do this. Try to go to the core of why this person is wanting to do this. Do what this person is asking you to do. Now, in this case, this ROE versus PE is one of the most celebrated relationships. And what is that relationship? You can see generally, right? As the, I mean, it should be the reverse. PE should be here and ROE should be here. As the, because P, why should be reverse? Can somebody tell me? Why should ROE be on the x-axis, rather be on the
So,
x-axis and PE on the y-axis?
so PE is basically the price to equity,
Yes,
price to earnings. I'm so sorry, and ROE is the return on equity. So it is generally believed that if you have a higher ROE, that is what will impact having a higher PE in the market. So ROE is what happens first, and PE is what is perceived in the market.
correct. So you are trying to find out what is the market perceiving this high or low ROE as, and that is why your generally dependent variables are here, okay, and independent variables are over here. So I should have said over here. What changes shall I make to make this to switch the things?
2:1, 1:2.
So let me do this. Let's see what happens. See, it's even gotten the title correctly, right? It is even automatically, I don't have to label it separately. It is even done that. Now, after doing that, suppose I want to know for this is the scatter plot. Suppose I want to know for my company, I've got a ROE of 35%. By looking at this, where should my P? What should my PE be? PE be? Anyone?
So could you please repeat it?
Suppose my ROE is 35% somewhere here. Okay, 35%. I know the X value of the ROE. Given the scatter plot, what should be my PE value?
Sir, it depends how you wish to predict. If you wish to predict as close to your local points, then it will be something as high as 16. If you wish to draw a regression line, then wherever you fall on the regression line for x equals to 3.5, 0.35, that is where you'll end up. So it depends however you want to model your prediction.
So who's this?
Neil, sir.
Yeah, so Neil, it's not however. Quant has got only one answer, and that's the regression, right? So if you're a quants person, you'll have to say that it's regression, and regression will give you the right answer because it will be it. I mean, the what is the test for regression to whether the regression is giving the right answer or not?
Sir, I guess what is the standard error of the regression will give you a rough idea, and the R square will tell you how well it's supposed to perform with its already existing points.
I'm looking for one key word over here. You've given the
Significance?
answer. Yes, but it's called as statistically significant or not. Okay,
Significance.
that is the key word.
OA, so
So
OLS where the residuals is equal to zero, I think, sir. The errors.
sorry,
So the errors
sorry.
between the predicted and the actual value is zero. Like when the residuals are zero, I think, sir. Almost, sir. OLS.
I don't know what you're saying, but let me not go into statistics. By the way, I've got a course on Coursera. I would suggest that you do take that course because that course will connect you from Python to machine learning, and it does exactly this regression. Go take a look at Coursera. It's called Statistics for Investment Professionals for Machine Learning. Okay, so it's a stats intro to machine learning where you'll get a light intro on Python and R as well. So do take the course. The point here being actually is the statistically significant. I don't know what you meant by residuals. I don't know who that was. Statistical, even a high R square, but a low statistical significance. And as you know, statistical significance is what you draw a normal curve, and in the normal curve, you have to say that you have to have a confidence, the confidence interval, and you can say that 95, 99% confidence. This is what this value is going to be given the x value. Okay, so that's what it is. Our class is right now on visualization, but you should think. I mean, not the only point that I want to make is when you go and take your jobs, folks, try to find out what is being asked for you and why they would want to ask this for you. As juniors, of course, you will have to do somewhat menial tasks. You'll not be surprised that a senior analyst or the publishing analyst in a firm like Citigroup or even Goldman or any other Wall Street bank, what they will do is that senior analyst will never ever do the grunt work. The grunt work is generally done by the most junior person, but that's where when you start to handle the mud, the bricks, and the cement and everything, the mortar, that's when you learn. And when your senior analyst or when your boss or somebody asks you to do a PE by ROE chart, if you're interested in markets, try to find out what are they after. Okay, so now coming back to this, right? Suppose you wanted to know the slope. So that's a simple thing in Python actually. And what is that? So this statement here, what I'm doing is that I'm just converting, applying this to as a numeric. Python has got this very cryptic things. Read the statement. Note that we need to convert two columns to numeric. Why? we created the data frame columns programmatically. In doing this, the columns were converted to complex data types. If it is gibberish to you, too complex, forget about it. This is a statement which will not give you errors. Most of the times, if you face a problem, what will you do in Python? What will you do if you face a problem? One, ask your colleague. Two, read a book. Three, go to the internet. Four, quit Python. What will you do?
Sir, it will be either internet otherwise colleague.
That's true. So go and in internet, you'll find lots and lots of things. In fact, let's do this. So I'm not doing this now. If I run this, what happens? What is it saying? It gives me an error. I'm trying to, well, first of all, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to use a polyfit function from the NumPy library to fit the regression line, right? Are you all with me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what am I doing? I'm taking the x values as the second column, y values as the first column. It should have been the reverse, because second is, I'm taking PE as the independent variable, but it should be ROE. Okay. And then I'm putting the labels here, X label and Y label. And then I'm doing this, the polyfit function. So what am I getting? I'm getting the slope and the constant. Python is giving it to me. And then I'm doing this. But now when I start to do the 13, line number 13, it is giving me an error, right? And then it says that NumPy object not inexact. And then I can take the entire thing here and I can Google this. Suppose I do here. I'm just trying to demonstrate how easy it is. Okay. Polyfit graph error. So see, it gives me Stack Overflow, gives me an answer. And then it says that probably your answer is this, because somebody has faced this problem. Somebody has faced this problem, and then somebody said, oh, go and correct it. So I went here, I corrected it, and what did I do over here? Nothing fancy. I just, this column 2 and column 1, the ROE and PE values, I converted these values by doing a apply to numeric. Again, it's a pandas function, right? So I just converted it to numeric. And after I do that, this is what I get. And it, draws a very nice line here, right? And what is the slope of this line? Almost like it's a flat line. It doesn't matter. So somebody said that, it's going to 15, 16 or whatever. I mean, anyway, this is wrong. It ought to be what? This ought to be 1. Let's try this. This ought to be 1. This ought to be 2. This ought to be 1. Sorry. This ought to be 2. Correct? So now it is giving me this slope, very, very gentle slope, 2.4. It is, it's a very, very gentle slope. So for 1% change, for 1% change in the ROE, what does this mean? Can somebody tell me what is the meaning of this?
Could
So
you
the constant 13.16.
Yeah, but what does it mean?
So it is the value regardless of any change or no, and the slope says that for every 1% change, it will change 2%, 0.411. That is, yes.
not percent,
so-
I think unit.
Correct.
Some
That's
units.
it. Units. So that's what it is. So interpret things, and that's what I don't know who gave the answer, but that's what it is. Now suppose instead of what am I doing over here? I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Okay, I showed you whatever I had to show in this one. So simple scatter plot. What is your takeaway from this? Simple scatter plot. It is just one line of code, like literally one line of code. But the first thing that I had to do was to import the Excel in a in a structure called a data frame. So that is your first visualization in Python, a simple scatter plot. The second visualization is actually a regression line. This also literally is actually one line of code. The other lines of code, if you see, I'm just assigning x and y values, giving the x label, y label, and then doing a PLT. I'm calling the PLT function to do the plotting. Are you all guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So suppose now you were to do this in Excel, just to be convinced. What am I doing it in Excel? In Excel, what do I have to do? In Excel, I have to go and take this and say insert, and then I say this, then I say, sorry, I have to first take this, then I say insert. No, I have to say select scatter plot. Where is scatter plot?
So you went into lines. Lines. You would have the code
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
dots.
yeah. So I do this, and I got this, and then after I do this, what I do is I go here, quick layout. All of you know these tricks, right? Where is it?
So if you, yeah.
See, see, see. This one gives me the 2.411. So y is equal to 2.411x plus 1.310x, and r square is a very very low r square, really meaningless, right? So no need to even go and look at the statistical significance of this. You can also get the statistical significance if you want. But the point being, guys, that this in Excel, our class is on visualization, not on statistics. The point is that the Excel thing. I spend enormous amount of time and I just get this. But if I want to do repeatedly this activity, suppose I want to do for 30 seconds, I want to do this and get out with it, then perhaps I may actually use Excel. But perhaps if I have got my Excel program, Python program ready, I might as well use the Python program. Now definitely I have to use the Python program if I do have to do it for thousands of times. Okay, you are with me? Hello?
Yes, sir, with you.
Yeah. So two takeaways from this: the scatter plot is easy, the regression line was easy. So there we covered two types of graphs. Do you want to try in 15 minutes? Try doing this so that you get the most out of this class before we move to an advanced version. You want to try doing it, because otherwise you will never will. And I am here right now to answer your queries. How do you want to spend the time? I can go to complicated graphs, but unless you do a simple scatter plot yourself, you'll not know the power, and you think it will be easy, but you'll face difficulties. Do you want to try it?
So we can go ahead with harder graphs, because
Okay.
most of us either some have interest in Python, some like using ggplot on R. So the
Okay.
easy graphs
Sure.
we are fine with, but I think the more complicated ones, I think that is where we would like your views and expertise.
So, okay. So now if you go from scatter plot, after scatter plot you have got other graphs, right? So let's go to this again, an imported thing, right? I mean I have these files ready. Okay. So this is the file. I've just imported everything, and now I'm changing the part to screener and opening up another thing here. So I've got the screener.csv, and I took all these values, right? So simple table, code, market cap, forward P. By the way, I don't know how many of you use this. This is all free data, and this is all real data. Okay, this is all real market data, and I can get it free in Python. That is something that R won't be able to do. Okay, so R has got lots of limitations. In the Coursera course, if at all you take it, I've demonstrated both usages, Python usage and R usage. You'll see things can get a little bit tricky with R. So this is from a library called Y Finance. For those who anybody use Y Finance?
So we've used Y Finance with Panda, sir.
Very good. So now what I'm doing over here is, first of all, I am replacing the outliers. So this is one of the most commonest things that you do in graphs. In Excel, as you see, it's very difficult to replace outliers. You'll have to you'll have to literally drop few points and so on. Here, what I'm doing is that I'm saying that if something is I'm giving a value. Okay, so one standard deviation. So replace outs, I'm giving one standard deviation for return on equity, and it is replacing that with the median value. This some of one of the most commonest things you'll have to do in life, like real life, because you'll all the time get outliers. Many companies have got negative return on equity. Why would there be a negative return on equity? Anybody?
So maybe the stock price is too high compared to the return.
No, wrong answer. Who was that?
Sir, Mihir.
Sorry, Mihir.
Yeah.
Mihir, why? What is there in the numerator and what is there in the denominator?
So profit upon MPS.
So why will ROE become negative?
Yes, sir. Sorry, not negative. It will. I answered it incorrectly. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, no. It's you don't have to be sorry. I'm trying to say like it will be negative if you've got negative equity or if you've got negative net profit, right?
Yeah, loss.
In fact,
Only
yeah,
numerator, sir.
yeah. So, in fact, if you've got a company which is having a negative equity and most likely for loss making companies where equity has gotten into negative and near bankruptcy or bankrupt. Okay, you suddenly gave a dividend and your equity became negative. You might have this dubious case of negative net profit and negative equity. Theoretically, I'm saying, okay. So always this outliers, you should have your own outlier function, and this outlier is all this outlier is doing is it is it is replacing. In Python, it's very very easy to replace your outliers with this. Is just one way of replacing outliers by looking at standard deviations. If something is above a certain value, I'm taking one standard deviation, but you could take two, just replacing it. That's it. So it's replaced it. You won't even know what happened, right? Unless you closely look for each value. So this value it ultimately got replaced. SBUN, whatever was SBUN, it replaced that. Or maybe yeah. So it replaced. See this? Has put in the median value. Okay. Now this is what the stacked bar graph. So before we go to the stacked bar graph, let's go to a simple graph, right? Simple bar graph. Let's go to a simple bar graph. What should I be doing if I want to do a simple bar graph here? Can somebody? I want to demonstrate, how easy things are. What should
So
I be
for a
doing?
bar graph, you only need one variable which is countable,
Okay.
and you just have to point it as x.
So I'm no expert in Python. Bar graphs in Python. This is how I do things, and this is the secret. All you need to do as an analyst is to find out where to look, how to look, get things done. So now here it is saying, this is what I do, plt.bar, but I don't want this. I want to use bar graphs in Python data frame. Okay. See this plot.bar. So that's the syntax. That's all I need. That's all I needed to know. I don't have to do, all the. So instead of scatter, I say over here bar. Okay. And what is the other thing that I need to give to bar? X value, y is equal to none, and I can give whole lot of other parameters. So x value, y is equal to, but our x value, remember what our x value should be? What should be the x value here?
So we had decided that ROE should be our x value.
No, it's a bar graph. Come on, who's this?
So Neil, so sorry.
Yeah. No, don't have to be sorry. So Neil, how visualize a bar graph? What does a bar graph contain?
So I'm so sorry. It has to be something which is countable, as I mentioned earlier. So
X value.
if
X
it
value.
is,
How
I'm
is
so
your
sorry.
bar graph going? How is your bar graph going to look?
So there's only going to be a x value, and everything on the x value should be countable. So hence we cannot have continuous values.
What is going to be the value then?
Y value will be how often it occurs or how many times it occurs.
Neil, I'm trying to do, what are the fields over here? Code, ROE, and P, right? So in a bar graph, what are you plotting? I mean, why would anybody need a bar graph here? Anybody who's, what kind of a bar graph can be drawn from this table? Let's go to Excel. So what is a bar graph? Can somebody tell me what kind of
Oh,
bar
okay,
graph
sir.
can be?
Okay, sir. I understood what you meant.
Yeah,
You want for each of the different companies what are the respective ROE and PE right next to each
exactly.
other.
Exactly. So one thing will have to be a categorical variable, right?
Yes, sir.
Which means this, not a non-numeric. And one thing will have to be a number. So is everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's why here, what do I have to do? Where is this? What do I have to do? I say x is equal to. So if I say x is equal to, if I say 0 over here, 0. Why 0? Because this is the zeroth column, right? And I say this, and then this doesn't really have any meaning, because I say this, and then over here I say what? What should I say over here?
Bar graph, bar chart.
Yeah. So what did I do? Oh, no, 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 no. Sorry.
So you have still written plot dot
Yeah,
scatter.
yeah. No, no, no. This, yeah. So my code is over here really. See this? Very, very nice. Very, very, you know, very nice presentation, right? You would agree, right? And if I wanted to do this, I can say, I think that's the way to do it. But this won't make sense, because why will not this make sense? Can somebody tell me?
So I think it'll be as two different graphs.
No, there's one more reason. Simple reason. Think about it. Why? How will you do it in Excel? Suppose I wanted to plot this. What am I doing over here in Excel? So try to, visualization, because you've got the Excel mindset. Try to visualize how you'll do things in Excel, and you will be surprised to see what are the things that are possible in. So now I have plotted ROE. How will I plot P? Where will I plot P on this? Can somebody tell me?
Sir, on the right side, sir, like
Correct. So what am I doing? I'll have how many axes? How
ROE
many
on the
axes?
ROE on the
Yes.
y-axis of the left side and P on the right axis of the
Correct. And how do
right
I do
side of the.
that? How do
So
I do that?
by selecting
I,
these three variables and by pointing that these variables are on which side,
yeah. So
and you can then choose.
I go to do select data, then do
Yes,
all these
sir.
stupid things, right? I say add, and then I have
Then
to do
select this.
this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do this, then I have to say this, then I have to do this, and I say okay, but still something is wrong, and so on and so forth. You know what has happened? Why is this showing me only one line?
Mhm.
No, sir.
So see, that's why you have to think in terms of Excel, right? So now I have to
So,
say format.
sir, I think it'll
Yeah,
be easier if you just select all three
Yes,
data
sir. You
and
can
go to
no.
your
by selecting
insert
all
chart.
This is
three
the
values.
reason. This is the reason. Okay. Now it is still hidden. Anyway, but that was the reason. I did not select secondary axis. All the values over here and here, I tried to put in one axis. the main takeaway from this, and you'll spend time, even in Excel, you'll spend a lot of time actually in doing a simple thing as a bar graph. The bar graph quickly starts to get complicated if you got two axes, as you just saw. I have to, maybe, and I don't want to eat the class's time, but I'll have to spend 15 minutes to just debug, what is wrong in this. Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Right? So now, if I want to do this in Python, all I have to do is here somewhere I have to give a parameter that don't take for this next variable for y, select a different axis. So for that, what do I do? Bar Python bar graph example with two axes. This is my trick to learning Python, right?
Yes, sir.
Two bars and two y-axis. See, you got a ready-made code here, right? So somebody, Python itself is for free. So this is what you have to do. You have to do a twin axis, and see this. If I want to do things start to get a little bit complicated, if I want to do two axes, because I can give one more thing. I can give one more thing over here. Python bar graph with two axes. Python data frame. I don't think you can do. For those who are trying to guess why I'm giving one more search if I've got a solution. For those who are astute observers, look at what this code is doing. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
We can see.
Yeah. So what is this guy doing? Forget about, it is just reading this into a data frame from this value, and you got two columns, right? Two columns over here. Now in the two columns, what it is doing is, instead of saying df.plot.bar, right? This is the command that we use. df.plot.bar. What is this guy doing? This guy, instead of doing this, it read the values like us in a data frame, df. Except that we called it outdf. This guy is calling it as df. What is the second thing they are doing? They are calling this plt.figure function. So it is creating a matplotlib figure. Slightly complicated. It's just saying I'm trying to create a visualization. So this is the first thing that I have to call, which is plt.figure. So it's creating a canvas in the memory, in the Python memory, and it's saying that creating a matplotlib figure. The second thing it is doing is it is creating two axes. Okay, the first axis, it's saying that what happens is that when I say add subplot in matplotlib, recollect that we added this library called matplotlib, right? We added this library called matplotlib. So in matplotlib, everything starts with a figure, with a canvas. So this command, it creates like almost like an artist, right? Like a painter. How many of you are painters in this group? Anybody who's a painter? No painter, I guess. So what would a painter do? On a canvas, the painter would select their canvas first, take the brushes, and then say that this is a canvas, and then say, okay, on this canvas I'll have two pictures, let's say. So they divide the canvas into two halves, on the left half and the right half, or the first half and the second half. This command is creating the canvas. This command is adding a subplot to it. Okay, it's saying that I want to add a subplot, and it creates the first axis. What this add subplot command creates is it creates an axis for the plot. Suppose, are you with me or am I talking with myself? I
No, sir,
created
we
the
are with you, sir.
yeah. So it created the axis like this, right? Because the axis is what the most critical thing for any graph anywhere, like in Excel or any place. So it created the first axis by creating the canvas and then creating a subplot. Now all it did was it said I want to have two axes to this plot. And how did it have two axes to the plot? It just said ax2 is equal to, I can say ax3, I can say ax kunte or whatever, right? And I created twin x. This is the main thing, twin x. Created another axis that shares the same axis as x. So all I'm saying is that now I've got two axes, and then I'm free to use anything. Okay, so what change do I have to do? The change that I have to do is in this, the change that I have to do is this, right? I have to take this. I have to do this. One second. Do bar plot. And if those who want to know, add subplot, what it is. This is if things are confusing you, what will I do over here? Add subplot. Examples. Try not to go to the sub. I mean, gigs for gigs is very good, but this guy is actually really good. Stack Overflow. I'm not, by the way, like, Stack Overflow is a very nice company to invest. I don't know how many of you are investing in companies, in angels. Are you any of you investing in angels?
So not
That's a
angels,
no.
sir. Ticket size is too high.
Okay, but you should try your luck, or actually, some of you should group together, and instead of doing a job, you should start your own company, because this is the age to fail, try and fail, try and fail. Anyway, see what this is doing, right? Uh, so this is what the subplot command does. What does the subplot? We initially started with the thing, right, with the canvas, and now this is what the subplot command is doing, right? So here, add subplot 2 to 1 is saying that top left. Okay, so this really means 2 and 2 means two rows and two columns. Okay, two rows and two columns, and this here I am referring to the top left. Again, two rows and two columns, I am referring to the second one. It goes this way: first, second, third, fourth. This is an exception to the rule where Python starts with 0, subplot starts with 1 2 3 4. I don't know, for some crazy reason. So this is what it has done. Okay, in our case, what it is doing, I have only one thing. I've got no other subplots. My entire canvas is going to be like one row, one column, and this is what I'm referring to. Everybody clear what I'm doing here? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah. And here now I'm saying X secondary. Okay, and this creates secondary axis. And here what do I have to do? Ax is equal to shit. Ax is equal to, in case I've forgotten my syntax, right? X is equal to this. Okay, and title is equal to bar plot. I don't have to give the title again. Here what should I give? Can somebody tell me? Hello?
EX secondary.
Sorry?
Sir, EX secondary.
Okay, yeah. Who was that?
Sir, Muskan here. Also, sir, change the color. Yeah.
Now there is a good chance of some problem here. What problem can you foresee? Anyone?
Sir, is it overlapping?
Yes. So let's try to do this and see what happens. It does overlap, right? But you don't want it this way. That is why, what is he doing? He's saying width is equal to width. So he's given the width of 0.4. Maybe as you reduce the width, it will probably give you, it will stop the overlapping. Width is equal to, still it's not. So let's say 0.1. Still, position also. There's a position parameter also. See this? Does it look nice and pretty? Not yet, right? Maybe I have to give this a 0.5.
So you have to
Slightly
add the
tighter.
width thing in the
Oh, I have not
before the
added it.
Excel.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Thank you, Muskan. Now it is too short. But you get the idea, right? You get the idea. Is it simpler than Excel, or is it harder?
Harder, sir. Excel will do it more easily.
Sorry, who's this?
Subham.
Subham. Uh, why do you think Excel will do it more easily? I just want to be, you may be right. Try to find out how long you will take in debugging this. See, it was harder for you the first time, right? Now, if you imagine that you had to do this like 100 times, and this code is ready, what will you do, Shubham?
Then Python will be easy, sir.
Yeah. So what I would suggest, those who are going to actually have this job in the beginning, and in fact, if you want to do, the other thing is that, in Excel you have to print it and do stuff, and I don't know what, right? So here what you can do is you can, code it once and forget about it. In fact, if you were smarter, you would have functions. The way I wrote this function here, you would have functions. I took a class for someone, and that was a exercise that I gave them. That write a bar plot function, which will give this very, very cleanly, which will give my bar plot very, very nicely and cleanly. And I purposely, did not, because otherwise, if I gave you everything ready made, I kid you not, you would think that it's easy, but it's not. And then when you actually try to do it, you'd say, boss, ये क्या बोल रहा था कुंटे आके बोला कि easy है ये तो, it's really very difficult. First time, second time, third time, and fourth time you'll be masters. Okay, so this is the second, where we are using twin axes. You can give very, very fancy color. There's an amazing, amazing color palette, Python color palette. So there's an amazing color palette which is almost kind of industry quality color palette, and you can fine tune that. In fact, you can actually, in this scatter plot, something that is very difficult to do in Excel, you can actually name every single variable, every single scatter plot. Try doing that in Excel. It is possible, though. I take back, in Excel it's possible. But what's not possible in Excel? Can somebody tell me? Scatter plot. If I want to do a scatter plot, right? I did a scatter plot. You're aware that in a scatter plot I can do the namings, right? How will I do the naming of each of these points?
So there's an option to show labels or something, I think.
Correct, right? And if I want to increase the, on the width of each spot, there's again an option. But I can't change
Just click
do
or
it
if you can,
Sorry.
No, sir. I'm sorry. You're saying?
So if I wanted to, keep the the length or the size of this circle, make it dependent on the market cap, let's say, on the third variable. That's impossible in Excel. You agree with me, right? So, for example, you would have seen graphs, as you work. Some of these graphs will actually show this circle is this code is bigger, this is smaller, this is still smaller, and so on. Have you seen such graphs?
Sir, it's possible on the
Yes.
newer versions, I think. I'm not sure, but again, I imagine Python would be a lot easier because it's going to be automated.
Yeah, it is going to be automated. So you can see, actually, I've got the program somewhere, I can't remember. Let's not spend time. And I can assure you, I wrote the program that I wrote by not going to the Python book and saying what function and playing. There's no point in reinventing the wheel, folks. Everything is there ready made. It's a community, but only thing I would suggest that, there's a class of 27 people. I don't know how many have attended today, maybe 3, 4, 5. If at least one of you is not a taker, is also a giver, that it will be worth something. So we are standing on the heads and shoulders of giants, right? And what are these giants? These are people like you and me who are contributing for free. And if you can contribute to Stack Overflow, to GitHub, or to to the Python library itself, maybe some of you maybe like Mac Wesley, if you can do that, that will be great. So here I'm going to just walk you through the lines of code, because I don't have the time right now to go and find out where the program is. We lose valuable time. So this is what I'm doing. What do we want to search? Was that Neil? Resizing scatter plots, right? Resizing scatter plots.
Sir, I
Dot.
think instead of having size equal to 100 or size equal to 10, we'll just have to do size
Yes.
equal to column 2 or column 1 or whatever.
Perfect. Who was that?
So Neil, sir.
Is that Neil? Yeah, exactly. You got it. So, but anyway, if you didn't have the opportunity to think the way Neil is thinking, the dumb thing for me to do is, and I'm the dumb guy. See, this is the search that I gave. There are two searches, right? Change size of scatter plots dots Python, and I'll say change scatter plot. Next search, I'll do change scatter plot. Uh, Change size of scatter plot dots Excel. You'll have both of these examples, and I'll tell you, like, it's not easy in Excel. Like, you'll have to change data markers in line and so on. So it's a little bit difficult. Okay, so, but this one is, it's very nifty, and it has got other things also. So for example, over here, see the bubbles that you've got, right? So it is giving a simple array, and I'm just, I can just copy this here. Copy this here. Right? X is containing this, Y is just the length of this, S is equal to, I'm just doing a size, it is 20 into 4 raised to n. Okay, it is raised to, star is raised to, and then I'm just saying plt.show. That's it. See this. So instead of 20 into 4, I could just say 2. It will actually be a little bit lower. See this? Nice little thing, right? That you can do. Let's move on to the next one. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
So I've got, like, we've got half an hour left, maybe, depending on how bored you are with things. So I've got two programs over here which I can demonstrate. The first is for plotting these kind of returns. Okay, these kind of returns and histograms, and the second is for this partial derivatives graph that you saw. Which one do you want me to walk through?
Sir, I'd prefer the returns first.
Okay, fine. Let's quickly go through this one. Who was that? Anybody who wants to oppose who has said this? So that's a that's a no. People want to go with this. So let's this is a simple program, very simple program for plotting returns, folks. And what am I using? Y Finance Library, Pandas, and using, this is the thing with, with date util. I'm trying to get a, because I'm going to do, time series maths, right? And I don't have the patience in Excel to, do all those kinds of things. And I'm using Plotly over here. Plotly is just like Matplotlib. Plotly is another library. And I'm taking this, I'm calling this like offline. By the way, what you can't do in Excel is probably interactive graphs. Okay, you can do interactive graphs in Python, and you can also do so what are you're familiar what is interactive graph, right? I'll show you what an interactive graph looks like. So this is my PhD thesis that I did. Where do I go? A second. Uh, Download. Population. And this is synopsis. Uh, Population. Yes, give me a second. All I'm saying is that there's a very nice thing available in Python. I can't get where. Yeah. So I did this, you can create an MP4 file in Python, okay, using the feature to actually do the graph. So for example, this is the, India's gender thing is really, really bad, right? So this is what our gender is going to look like. Sorry, this is showing by religion, okay, and the gender ratio. This is generated from Python. So this is how going to. I'm sorry, please, I mean, there's no bias. There's real data across all religions. This showing how the gender problem is going to assert itself. You can see over here the Sikhs, the gender ratio is going to be really lopsided against girls, and the Christians are going to be the best out of all, and Hindus are over here somewhere. So my point is not to demonstrate to you which religion is and it's not about which religion is good or bad. Just a scientific way of looking at the census data, and all of this is free information that I gobbled up using Python and generated this graph. And there are many other graphs which I can, for example, the youth bulge, right? You are young people, right? Young people 15 to 29, and this is what the youth bulge is going to look like, okay? And this is what you do. So this you can do only in Python. I don't know of any other tool to do it as swiftly as possible to create an MP4 file. And there are interactive graphs as well, which I don't have to show right now. Yeah,
you can
tell me.
use
Sorry.
You can use GG Animate on R also.
Yeah, you can use GG Animate on R. But yeah, I mean, you'll find, especially in finance, you'll find the number of libraries that are supporting this, right, are minuscule. I've not even gone to Seaborn. Seaborn, I mean, just put those words in your mind's eye. Seaborn is a private company, Seaborn. So Seaborn specializes in graphs. And the graphs and visualizations are far, far, if you think that Python, Matplotlib is good, which is free, Seaborn is like, miles ahead, right? So it can't match GG Animate. But yes, so that can be done with Matplotlib also, R also. In finance, you'll get just a lot more libraries. So let me go back to this, where I'm saying that Plotly, I'm using Plotly. So there will be for visualizations in Python, you'll have 10 different things. How did I start? How do I start in Python? Like what library to use? How do I do that? I will do this as a lay person. I will give it as a DuckDuckGo or Yahoo or Google search. I'll say this is what I want. Then I'll get lots of options, and I'll take the best one and just you know copy and paste and stand, be grateful to the people who have shared that code, and stand on the heads and shoulders of other giants. So anyway, over here, for any time series thing, you have to do a start date and end date. So this is what I gave: start date, end date. And this I gave my path as this is all I've done over in this piece of code. Now over here, I'm just giving like three things. Over here I'm saying TCS, Infi, Wipro. This actually goes to the Y Finance, and it downloads. Some of you have actually used Y Finance, and it is actually storing it to a CSV file. So I don't want to now to trouble, because this is all free, and I don't want to really to overload the Y Finance functions, and just for the sake of demonstrating how this works. I've stored it in this in my local thing. So let me do get the TCS file over here, right? So I got the TCS file. I just loaded the TCS file in a data frame, and this is what I got in a data frame. Everybody fine over here till now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Now this is where I start doing the tricks. All I'm doing is, now in this one, I got everything in a data frame. You saw in the first scatter plot, what we did was we forced it to apply numeric function, right? Similarly, now I want to force the data column to date time. Everybody with me? So I want to force this column to what? Date time column, right? Everybody with me? And I'm
Yes, sir.
saying errors is equal to coerce. And the next thing actually I'm doing is I'm setting the index. I'm setting the index over here. Okay, so I'm setting the index over here. So I set the index. So my date is the index now. There's a difference. See here, everything is a column. See here, date is now a index. What do I mean by that? Why am I setting the date as an index? Can somebody tell me?
So it will become the unique key for your data set.
Correct. It may or may not be unique, by the way. So who was
That's right.
that?
Ali, sir.
Ali. So Ali, there are two types of indexes. One is a unique index, the other is a non-unique index. So for example, there could be 15 people by the surname Ali, and 10 people by the surname Kunte. Now there could be only three people by the surname of Ali, and your first name I forgot, Ali. Okay, and then there will be still fewer people on the same date. So your index starts to be narrowing to a unique Ali that I'm talking to right now. And that's the job of the indexes. So what does the index do? It will make the operations very fast. Okay, so I got the index here, and now I'm showing. So anyway, this was the exercise that I did. So I did something over here. So now over here, what I'm saying is I wanted to calculate the moving averages, 100-day moving average. What am I doing? All I have to do, since my date is already indexes, folks, the main thing that I had to do in Python, in R, it's a little bit difficult. Okay, so or also there's a library. I think there's a moving average library itself that you can take. But as you start to get funkier and funkier Bollinger charts and all those things, you'll find the technical. There's an entire technical analysis package that you can use. So you can you get this. I'm just creating another column. What am I doing over here? I'm saying price DF boss. I want one more column called MA100. And how am I going to get the moving average? By just saying I want to roll it by 100 days. Every 100 days, get me the mean. Every 200 days, get me the mean. And then I go to our familiar thing. Price DF open. Figure size is 15 by 7. My canvas is 15. 15 by 7, 15 this way and 7 this way. No, sorry, 15 this way and 7 this way. And then say plot. That's it. That's it. That's it. So I got the real price. What did I do over here? I got the open price. I got the open price plot. I got the the moving average 100, moving average 200. Now, how do I detect these points over here? Ali, Neil, and other people, Muskan. How do I detect these points? I mean, why am I doing this? Why would you do this moving average? क्यों कर रहा हूँ
So
मैं ये सब?
Sir,
there's
stock
a
prices.
concept.
Go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, you.
Acha,
Yeah.
okay, so I'll go. So, sir, stock prices will eventually tend to turn or tend to move according to the moving average itself. So, if you are above the moving average, you can expect the stock to go down in a way.
Something of that sort. Okay. I mean,
So
this is
so
all mumbo. Yeah. Sorry.
there's a concept which doesn't always hold true, but the concept is of long-term moving average and short-term moving average. Whenever they cross over, there's supposed to be a change in the way that the rate of change of the stock happens.
Correct.
So people
Yeah.
are always looking over for when they cross over.
Yeah, it's called as a golden cross and dead cross. Okay, there's a technical term for that. So as you actually go and do technical analysis, and I don't like technical analysis and all the mumbo jumbo that they speak on the. They're just ask go and somebody who says ये technical analysis करो ये चढ़ाओ उसका golden cross आ गया उसका dead cross आ गया you tell that guy show me your P&L. Okay, show me your P&L. Never fall for their hooks. You'll hardly find a person who's actually made all these technical analysis guys. Why are they not Warren Buffett's? Okay, they are not, right, because they are indulging themselves in inane stupidity. Okay, which is trying to predict how people, I mean, I'm sorry, but people, somebody, a learned person, was trying to predict. You saw a directory in my folder called COVID. So somebody was trying to predict if what the wave is going to look like, the wave is going to look like. I said it's not possible. This COVID virus is a intelligent animal, right? It is trying to survive itself. But let's not go into details. This is what the world wants. You give it to them. There is some sense. There is some sense when a short-term moving average, crosses over to a long-term moving process from the long-term moving average. There's a sense. There's a change in the market dynamics. That's all there is to it. Your fundamentals are your best friend because fundamentals win over the long run. Okay, so that's what. Please remember that. But this short thing was just to introduce you to what can be and what cannot be done in Python. And you can see over here I can do daily, yearly, weekly returns. I just created close this by this, shift one, minus one, that's it. So I've got like yearly returns, weekly returns, daily returns, right? See this. All very easy. And you can do this. Python, the beauty of Python is like 1 million rows, 1 million columns, it doesn't matter. Give it to me, bring it on, like it will do it, right? And it has got this, and then you can say, you can then again plot the, if you want to do the historical histograms, right? Again with the same data frame, I just say hist. I give bins is equal to 100, label is the ticker to check, alpha is equal to alpha. Alpha is the transparency of this. Color is red, I can give color as blue, and the figure size, as you know, is 15 by 7. And then I say legend, and it will give the legend also. That's it. If I say 1, right? If I say 0. 0.8, this is what will happen. Okay, that's the only thing. Everybody with me? Hello? Shall I go to more complicated graph before you
Yes.
break off? So this is what
So just
every
one more
single
thing.
thing. Yeah,
May I ask? I'm so sorry to break your flow,
of
sir.
course.
But sir, so these things what you are showing right now, these are good. But what I've seen elsewhere also is that Python can be used to make graphs and all that are not only much more aesthetically pleasing but also interactive. As in, I can literally just some kind of buttons or something are available and all. So
Correct, correct. So there is things called a thing called as dash. Okay, now that's going into advanced. Uh, so dash is a platform where you can do this interactive stuff. The video that I showed to you, it is a little bit interactive, right? Although you don't have the control, the video is actually taking you through time history of what is happening and what is changing. Okay, so I can share the code with you of how it does it, and even for interactive video. And why do I have to share the code? You can just, what do? You Google over here. But before doing all of that, Ali, what I would suggest is be comfortable, because see, today there's Python. Tomorrow there could be, already people are starting to use Julia. There could be others. There could be, you're already using Excel. Some of you are using what is that? R. If I were a betting person, I would bet my things in Python as of now, because of the role that you are in. Suppose you are going to be somebody, I think Ali, you are going to work in Chennai, Pune, or some other place, right? So suppose you are going to do something production quality, where you have to do, uh, things have to be very fast. Then I would use a language called Julia. Why Julia? Because Julia is a compiled language and Python is a interpretive language. You'll not be surprised. The syntax for Python and Julia are almost the same. And in fact, Julia is using a data frame. But to your question on interactive graphs, right? What I would suggest, Ali, is to be very clear with the basics. Right? The basics are, it starts actually with a data frame, rows and columns. And then with the rows and columns, the most basic structure that we saw is a scatter plot. The second thing that we saw is a bar chart. Then a slightly more complicated thing that we saw, two axes, left and right axis. Now the third thing that we saw is line graphs and how do you superimpose things using time series. So we saw four things, right? Now I'm going to, and to your question, so we can add interactivity over here. I'll probably share code with you later on which will show some interactivity. But before that, what I wanted to do is, all the things that you saw in in the presentations, right, that we covered in the first three lectures, every single graph was drawn in Python. Did I share code with you? Hello?
So
Hello?
these codes.
No, which code did I share with you? I forgot.
So you had sent some code which I think it was to do with the, I think this similar derivative one only. So the one you're seeing at the bottom of your screen. I think it was this
Yeah,
one.
I
Okay.
think it was option Greek code that you sent.
The name of the file, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so this is the one. This is the one. Okay, so this is the one that this has got like Black-Scholes, and this is the Black-Scholes model, and this is what it drew, right? So now this is the third thing. All the graphs that you've seen so far are in two dimensions, right? There is a x-axis and y-axis. Now here, the first graph that I'm drawing is actually in three dimensions, right? There's x, y, and z. You saw this in our first lecture on the first day or something like that, where you wanted to do a function. So our purpose in today's class is actually to do visualizations in Python. So you saw in two dimensions, you saw scatter plot, you saw bar graph, you saw twin bar graph, you saw line charts, you saw regression, and now I want to show three dimensions. In three dimensions, what I have to do really is, this is the thing over here. This is again, I import my libraries. I then say I call a function called xy. It just returns the partial derivative of whatever I am giving of this. Nothing. Don't spend your time, too much time. This is the function that I give. This is a function x square plus y square. That's the function, right? This is the function that we defined, x square plus y square. And you know what is the partial derivative of this by just saying 2x, right, for the function. And here I am giving the line, this function line space. Anybody familiar with this function? What, any guesses what this function will be doing?
Sir, is it for the amount of space on the on every value on the axis itself.
So what it does is, you can see that it creates an array. Now this is a part of the NumPy library. Okay, it creates an array. Anything, not just Python, even in R. By now you must have guessed. Anything, everything you want to do, test it line by line, word by word. Why is it giving? How should I fix this error?
So we haven't imported NP yet.
Very good.
So basically, what that code is doing is, sir, from -5 to 5, it is going to create a thousand cut points,
Perfect.
equally spaced,
Perfect.
I think, and
Perfect.
also the
Perfect.
next. So it'll tell us how sharp or undefined our graph is going to look like.
Perfect. Perfect. So this is what it is doing. So it's going to create 1,000 points between -5 and +5. 1,000 points on the y value between -5 and +5. And this is the command for 3D graphs. It creates a grid. It creates a mesh grid, because in 3 dimensions you need a grid, right? This is the x value, y value, and how do you create a grid? So this is what it creates, and this is what you have to give for the x and y value. Now this one z, it's just saying function of x and y, right? Function of x and y, which is, we said that x and y function is x square plus y square. So this is what it does. Now it gives this PDZ is a partial derivative of x and y. X and y, big X and y, okay, not small x and y. And now, once I've got all my data defined, x, y, and z are all defined, all I have to do is go back to a familiar thing, except over here, I have to say axis and projection as 3D. And once I say projection as 3D, the command to do it is plot surface. Plot surface. And I can use any color map over here. I use Viridis, and then I use reds. You can see what is Viridis. Okay, color map Viridis. Let me just show you these values. Okay, so choosing color maps. So this is, you get huge amounts, and this is what I chose. Okay, so perceptually uniform sequential color map. So all I wanted to do was give something that was nice and funky. In Seaborn, you'll get even more kind of specializations. Where is that? So this is the color map I chose. Reds is another color map I chose, and then I said set title, gave the text, and this command really is. These are the two things which is plotting the things. You're with me, right? It is plotting. What is the first command doing? Can somebody tell me what is the first command doing? X, Y, Z. What is it plotting? Which one? What is X, Y, Z doing?
So which command, sir?
This one.
So it's plotting a space, and the space is defined by XYZ, which we have defined above. X
Correct.
is line space, Y is line space, and Z is a function of X and Y.
So which is Z over here in this graph?
Sir, I believe the vertical.
Which one? This one?
No, sir.
This one?
Z-
40, 30, sir, I think so.
This one?
So the Z
one?
axis or the function?
No. What will this command do?
Sir, I think it will create the blue-green curve.
Correct. That's what I wanted. And this is showing the tangent to you, right? This is tangent to this. This is all it is doing. Now to do it in Excel is probably, that it's not possible, right? I just wanted to demonstrate this. What else is there over here? Yeah. So this is the thing that you have got, right? I mean, we showed how to do the Monte Carlo, right? How to do the Monte Carlo. The simple function to do the Monte Carlo: start date, end date, ticker code is TCS. I use Yahoo Finance to download start date, end date. Gave a adjusted. I wanted to take this adjusted close. I took the log price, log return, right? Remember, we have to do log price, log return. Why? Because logs will give you the thing automatically, right? You can get the return automatically. And you got the mu over here, which is the average. And this is the thing that I got. uh, mu is equal to into 260 plus zero point 0.5. So this is the thing I got using the for the standard deviation. So this is the standard deviation I got, and then I did a delta t of, sorry, this is now taking you back to the class, right? There's a drift and a diffusion, and then for each of this, what am I doing? I'm predicting the next step, and I'm doing this how many times? I'm doing this 100 times. So the delta t for the year I've divided into 260 halves. I think we went through this code, right? I don't have to go through this, right? We went through this code, have we? Have we? I think we did.
Yes, sir, we did.
Yeah, we did, right? So all that it is doing is it's showing the line graph, right? And what else? And then this is here, these are the simple charts that I showed to you. I probably have not given this code to you, have I? Partial derivatives.
I don't think so, sir.
Yeah, so
So
I'll
this
send
one,
this to, yeah, sorry, go on.
sir, I was
Go
just saying
on.
this one you have not shared us.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. Now, before closing, I just wanted to go with interactive graphs in Python, right? Interactive graphs in Python. That was Ali's question. So there are these libraries. I like analytics vidya because it is almost free. If you go to some other things, it'll start tracking you and what you do. You see what I mean, right? It'll start tracking you. So as you know, matplotlib, Seaborn, and Plotly are the three libraries. We covered Seaborn. What it is doing is it just doing this import NumPy, pandas, and import Plotly, and from that they're using px as the library. Now it is Kaggle. How many of you know Kaggle? Anybody knows Kaggle?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kaggle is a who's that?
Shubham, sir.
Shivam, can you share with others what is Kaggle?
So like it is a platform where we can get many projects done by others and also their codes and everything, sir. Like because I have also done a project from there, COVID project it was, and it was already done by many of the others, sir. The code was
Very
also
good.
shared by them and everything.
So it's not only code. Actually, Kaggle is more famous for the data.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It
and
is a
there are
data.
yeah, so there are lots of competitions on Kaggle. I would invite you to participate in those competitions. Even if you don't win, that's fine. Just participate and put it in your resume, because you're young right now, and you already, although you've got a job, you know you are going to look for a new job in 2 years time. If you don't, I would be very surprised. Or you want to now, now that you've tasted blood in the sense that you are into financial services, you want to do something better. So how will you add to your resume? So if you wanted to go towards machine learning and AI, and I would suggest that be on that track, because that is the track that will guarantee you almost good financial freedom in the future. uh, and to be on that track, you'll have to encounter this thing called Kaggle, and put on your resume as many things as possible that you've done something on Kaggle. If you won, I think that will be really good. So here they're just doing the housing data set. That's where it started. The machine learning revolution really started with housing prices. All of you are aware with housing.com from India, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's just a regression model, a multiple regression model where they predict the price of a house depending on literally hundreds of variables, and it worked in California. That's why machine learning started to become very very famous. And there's a Californian data set that's now part of the Python standard Python package. You don't have to go to Kaggle for that. You can download the data set and you can play around, and you can be amazed as to how machine learning shows it. But now that's the main part in machine learning and AI. The main part in machine learning and AI is actually visualization. Okay, so let me actually show you some more visualizations. Okay, give me. Are you guys bored, or you want to go now? Do you have some time? Hello.
So I think we have 10 minutes now.
Okay. So let
Sir,
me
can
show
you
you some.
suggest any course on data visualization in Python, sir?
Oh yes. So data visualization in Python, you can do. We just CFA Institute has come up with a specialization actually. Okay. So my colleague Neil Govier has done a data visualization course, and it is using Python code, and that starts with very basic things like lots of good things in it, and then you got my course which is there, statistics for stats basics for investment professionals, for machine learning. So there you can find a lot of visualizations, and which will use the Python code. But let me show you some stuff here quickly. So take a look at this. I mean, I asked this last time. Nobody is a charter holder here, right? Hello. Nobody is. So
I don't
anyway,
think so, sir.
yeah. So this is what it does. This is anybody. I think level 2. This is a level 1 reading. So anybody who recently gave level 1 CFA. No one. So see this. So I mentioned to you Seaborn library, right? I'm
One of
using
our
Seaborn.
classmates have given, sir. So soon, I think.
Yeah. So they have got this. They have got this in L1. Okay. Okay. So in their L1 curriculum, they have actually got this. Now in L1 curriculum, they don't have to write the code, but I am showing you the code. In L1 curriculum, we have just covered how this is done. So for example, now this is a frequency polygon, and I'm using Seaborn. These five things are useless commands where I'm just reading into data frames, right? This is where I start to do fancy things, where I'm calling a distribution plot. I'm calling this library called SNS, and then I'm ultimately creating this frequency polygon. This is where I create the 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 simple distribution, the index return versus cumulative frequency. And this is where I do the bar graph, where it is little bit fancy, uh, graph, bar graph. I wanted to show you something else which I have not shown to you before, but unfortunately I have to execute all the. This is stacked bar graph. Stacked bar graph is used when you want to show something as part of the whole. So in consumer services, what this graph means is that in communication services, a lot of folks are more of them are small cap. Mid cap is slightly bigger, and large cap is the least. Here large cap percentage is more, so it is showing how it stacks up. Okay, that's the only thing that this thing shows. Now this is I think word cloud is not possible in maybe it's possible in R. I don't know. I have not tried it in R. Anybody has tried word cloud? You know what is word cloud? Hello.
Yes, sir. You put in a lot of word sentences or like basically a lot of text, and the words which repeat the most show up in the biggest font size.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what the word cloud is. See, I just executed this. It was actually reading a management discussion, right? Which you will often be doing if you are a research analyst. I mean, management gives this thing. I'm just showing you pictorially, like you are seeing the prime minister's word cloud. If you're a reader of the Mint, so they have often compared Manmohan Singh's words, what Manmohan Singh used to say, what Prime Minister Modi is saying, and how Prime Minister Modi's words have changed from 2014 to 16 to 17 to 18 to 19. You can do it for President Bush, you can do it for Donald Trump, you can do it for anybody. Okay, and you can do a lot more AI. So this is part of AI now. This is machine learning, and You can also do AI to see a differentiation between, let's say you are analyzing a company, you can and you want to find out what is the management stressing about. Suppose you are looking at a consumer discretionary sector, and you want to differentiate between Hindustan Lever versus the Parachute Oil Company. What is it called? What is the Parachute Oil Company?
So is it Marico?
Marico, yeah. So Marico versus Hindustan Lever, what is the management saying? And you want to see how the management is. These are all horses, right? And it's like a horse race. You want to find the horse which is going to, run the fastest. Now, how will you find that? See, quantitative data, the ROE, the PBR, the fundamentals, it's beaten to death. Everybody will is all over it. You have got no edge there. It's the qualitative data. So you want to find out, oh, Marico, the CEO is thinking about these five things, and your own analysis suggests that this is the future in next year. Now that the AI thing will tell you, like, Marico is thinking about this, and Hindustan Lever is thinking about this. So you would rather bet on Marico than on Hindustan Lever. And then if you wanted to visualize what you are thinking, so the AI model will just give you, like, this is where it is, Marico versus Hindustan Lever. Uh, but the visualization will be given by programs such as this. So this is the word cloud, and this is just a nice looking sector index versus graphs, and this is the bubbles that we talked about. We don't have to spend a lot. I wanted to show something else to you. Where is it? Huh. So this is what you'll use most often, right? It will be used for doing correlations. I have to execute this command. Okay, this is what you will get, and for finding out correlations and scatter plots. So I'm just doing a utility sector return versus S&P 500 return. You'll do this all. So this is what I, sorry for dragging you into this, but this is what I wanted to show. This is your crux for machine learning. You see this I think it's possible in R also. If you got like tens of variables, right, and you want to find a correlation matrix, you can do pairwise correlation. You can get a nice looking graph over here, right? Where is it? Come on, it's still executing it. So without even going to the interactive graph, Ali, you know, there's a lot to do in basic graphing. It doesn't matter whether you are, ultimately it's your own call. If you want to take R, if you want to take Python, if you want to take Julia, whatever it is, the basics won't change, or Excel. And this is what you'll have to do for getting pairwise correlations and the heat map. What is the heat map? So looking at this chart, you can see this is fairly nicely correlated. This is even more nicely correlated. Nice, and there's a nice pattern. This is not correlated at all. So on and so forth, right? This is what you get with visualization, and you can do lots of other things. So let me end over here. We are at 12:31. I don't want to bore you. I've already exceeded the 10 minutes. Any quick questions that you got? No questions is
Sir, I
not a
think
good
no,
thing.
sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So that's it for me from today. I wish you all the very best. Try to take the main takeaways. Don't lose without even going into Python, or without even going into the Greeks and options that we studied. Try to hug the markets, because you are in financial services. Try to hug the markets. Try to hug the economy wherever you are, and then you'll be good. It doesn't matter. And of course, you have to be ethical. Learn to be ethical. Thank you very much for attending these lectures, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then, cheers, bye. I think I have recorded.
Sir,
Anything else I have to do? I have to stop presenting, and that's it. I leave.
yes, sir. So just a question.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, You had mentioned something regarding data visualization and some code for a test. Would you be including that in the final?
I have not been asked to take a test for this.
Okay, then it's okay. So I think you had mentioned one something about Python, but I think it's fine. I
Yeah, so
think Panda sir only will be setting the
yeah, so
thing.
the thing I would suggest, Neil, uh, is that all of you got jobs, right? Does it really matter? I mean, is your offers conditional?
Sir, I we have to pass.
Yeah, so the thing is like, you're really, any exam, you're competing with yourself. So try to take the best out of this. If I were you, Neil, I would actually go and look at the trial code. At least give half an hour, 1 hour to reflect on it, play around with it, and then it's up to you later on if you want to take it or not. Do that for every single class that you do, right? And then you'll be good. Not just this class. Don't look at it from a limited exam point of view. Whether I'm going to how many. Of course, it matters. How many marks am I going to get in my exam? But try to get the gist of what you're doing, and then you'll be good. Okay. I'll
Yes,
share
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
partial derivatives code with the class. Wishing you all the best. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Bye. Cheers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, if I want to record, stop recording first.